What's going on, guys? Welcome back. This video is sponsored by Ren. Let's get into it. I'm about to magically grow some hair back. So progress is coming along on the little tech startup that I told you guys about. So here's my nice logo for the first one, the quantum computing related ones. Let me know if you can figure out the reference of the logo in the comments down under with just that. But that's all I'm going to say for now. And let's get back to the video. I'm an astrophysics PhD candidate. Today, going to be checking out some more physics YouTube videos. So I found a nice one on YouTube. Let me just change this. Make sure it's working. All right. Let's check out this gravity visualized video. I've never seen it. It's got 131 million views. So if you're new around here, make sure you subscribe. We talk about some physics occasionally. Let's get into it.
And so you put mass in a place in space, it warps space-time, and objects are not feeling a force of gravity, they're just following the natural curvature. And so this is a sheet of Lycra. Where do you get this? This is my old bike shorts. No, there's literally a spandex.com. You can get a sheet like this if you buy the sale stuff, so you don't care what it looks like, right? For like 20 bucks, maybe less, depending on the sale. And so you put matter, and it warps space-time. And so if I have another object, it also warps space-time.
He should also say this is like imagining space-time as a 2D object, you know, a flat sheet. Whereas in reality, space-time, at least in Einsteinian physics, you know, we say it's a 4D object. 3 spatial dimensions, 1 time dimension. So let's see what happens once it plays.
They feel that, and they're attracted to each other. And so that's
okay. This is being very laggy. Apologies.
And so you put matter, and it warps space-time. And so if I have another object, it also warps space-time. They feel that, and they're attracted to each other. And so that's Einstein's picture of gravity. Objects warp space-time, feel that curvature, and move accordingly. And if you have more mass,
you're right there on that.
Oh. If you have more mass, it's going to bend space-time more. And so if you have objects there, also warp space-time, they feel that, and they're attracted to each other. And so that's Einstein's picture of gravity. Objects warp space-time, feel that curvature, and move accordingly. And if you have more mass,
you're right there on that.
Oh. If you have more mass, it's going to bend space-time more. And so if you have objects there, they are going to respond to that, right? And so you put something there, now it's attracted. Now, in reality, that big mass would feel the warping of space-time by the marble too, right? It would move a little bit, but we usually ignore that. You know, the Earth makes the sun move a little bit, but it's so small you can ignore it. The moon makes the Earth kind of wobble around a point 3/4 of the way from the center of the Earth. We usually don't account for that when we're looking at satellite motion. Well, instead of just letting go of one, what if I give it a sideways push? Now it orbits. Now it's losing energy, which wouldn't happen in the solar system, right? Not noticeably. There's some perturbations from other planets and things. But this one does lose energy and spirals in.
Yeah, it's losing energy due to the friction of the spandex, right? But in space, there's no friction, you know. So, but the planet. So like you said, the marble's losing energy, spirals inwards. But in our solar system, planets, no friction, so they don't lose any energy through their orbit. However, they do lose a little bit of energy. There's something called gravitational radiation. And if Earth's still around in like 10 to the 20 years, yeah, it'll actually spiral into the sun.
If I don't push it as hard, it will do an ellipse for a while anyway. And let's get some more here. So one of the things I thought of to do with this is when you study the solar system, all the planets are going around the sun the same way. Why is that? Did God decide that he only liked clockwise, or depends on whether he's above or below the solar system, right? Why is everything going in the same direction? Well, the answer is it wasn't. Different directions. But there was a preferred direction. The disk it formed from had a slight preference one way versus another, and things going the opposite way got eliminated, and when it's all said and done, everything's going the same way.
That was brilliant.
That works 90% of the time.
Is it like a toilet flushing? Southern Hemisphere?
Wow, can you do that again?
And so, it won't work then. And so I have slightly more in one hand than another, but I don't consciously do that. And you want to give them so they spread out a little when you throw it.
It's because they're colliding with each other that you...
The ones going the wrong way get eliminated, right?
So cool.
Now they're also...
I've never seen that.
This is
Brilliant.
where this analogy breaks down. There's another dimension, right? But those things that were out of the plane also...
Same thing happens.
That weren't near the preferred plane also got eliminated.
I mean, of course, I know about
So
this
that's
phenomenon, but I've never seen it
cool. Now, my students
visualized like
use
that
a,
in some sort of real demonstration.
PhET simulation called My Solar System. And so they've seen all this on the computer. And when we do this during our special relativity unit, they're like, hey, it's just like the computer. That's kind of cool that a stretch sheet of Lycra models things, it's not
So
just
cool.
like it, but similar to the computer.
You might be
Now-
wondering, like, with the thing in the middle pulling down the sheet, isn't it gravity causing that, like, thing to go down? So, it's kind of like using gravity to explain gravity, because gravity is causing that sheet to go down. But, the key point is that, matter in space-time will bend the fabric of space-time itself.
Some things we discovered using this, also had just some larger marbles, might as well put them out, but they bend space-time too, right? And so maybe, oops,
So cool.
there we go.
Oh my God.
So the Earth-Moon system, maybe? And so you can see that this seam, you can't buy Lycra this big. You get it in rolls, and you have to sew it together. I've been told to use stretchy thread to sew it together. And so next time I do it, I'll do that because it pulls. And so just a little bit of thread fixes it. And so in the morning, when I first set this up, I'll have it leaning against the table. I'll be underneath fixing holes from last year. One time my principal walked in. And I hear somebody in the room, and I'm underneath. I'm in the middle of sewing it. I'm not going to pause yet. And then he's looking around for me, and he kind of knows somebody's in the room. He says, oh, there you are. He goes, what are you doing there? And I go, I'm repairing a rip in the fabric of space-time. What do you think I'm doing?
That was
You get to see that. Another thing this does, you've probably seen plastic ones of these, right?
This guy's a great
The
teacher.
Discovery Center, Children's Discovery Museum in San Jose has one. The Exploratorium has one. Sometimes they have them at shopping malls to get you to put money in it. But one thing you can't do with those is put two masses in.
Nice.
And so when we went to the moon, when we first started, we sent our spaceships on what are called free return trajectories. So they would go to the moon. This is hard to get to happen. And they would come back in like a figure eight. And so that lets you show, now of course the moon's a lot smaller, but if you look at the plots of the free return trajectory back from the Apollo program, you'll see it has a figure eight sort of shape. And so this takes a little bit of practice to be able to do the figure eights. These clamps around here, you can adjust it to make it tighter if it's not working. So Steve and I, when we set this up in the morning, we played around with it, and actually I think it was working better than it usually is. And so not easy to do. And so I go through that. One year, a kid who read some stuff about the dark energy. We have our dark energy
Kind of like the
pole.
opposite of gravity.
I
You don't know what it
have
is.
Extra.
Just kind of invoke
I
it.
guess any of these would work. And so I'm just thinking, oh, dark energy, what is that? That makes everything come apart, right? And so
You could-
dark energy would
You could get everyone on the edges and stretch it.
and so stuff goes apart rather than toward it. So if you can work in dark energy anytime, right? Talking with the kids, stuff they're not familiar with, and then I just let them play. And so that's where we discovered the Earth-Moon thing. Is I just let them play, and they're like, Mr. Burns, come over here, look. And they were all excited because they discovered that. I said, oh yeah, it's got it.
Wow.
And so there's, then I throw out a few other things so they can try this collected stuff over time. And put out all the marbles. So if you want to try it out, but we probably want to get back to electricity, magnetism.
But we want to play, Mr. Burns.
Now, you might wonder if this is a good example of the galaxy as well. And it kind of is, but it's kind of not, because there's problems with galaxies and why they even stay together and why they're not, randomly, stars flying off every which way, because it doesn't seem to be enough mass to hold them together and their rotation curve. So where the stars at the center of the galaxy are rotating around the quickest, which is as expected. But as you go to the edges of, say, our spiral galaxy, the stars that are rotating around the galaxy should be doing so a lot slower, but they're not. It's actually kind of almost constant. And so the stars at the edge of the galaxy are absolutely blazing around the galaxy. And so where is this energy coming from? Why is this happening? Well, this is one of the pieces of evidence for dark matter, why we think there's a lot of dark matter in galaxies.
So I'd say the whole thing, if you bought all the parts and everything, it's about $100. But one of my favorite days, so you're going to do it Monday, right, Steve? You didn't
Yeah.
get to it.
A big thanks to the sponsor of today's video, Ren. Ren basically allows you to take climate action right now, and it's easy for anyone to do. So you just answer a few questions about your lifestyle, and you can basically calculate your carbon footprint and how to reduce it. It tells you exactly how. So you can then make a monthly contribution to fund carbon reduction projects like rainforest protection and mineral weathering. So that basically offsets your carbon footprint. The science on global warming and climate change is pretty unanimous. Humans are having an extraordinary impact on our environment. Offset your carbon footprint on Ren. The first 100 people to sign up via the link in the description get an extra 10 trees planted in their name, which is pretty cool. They're obviously doing a great thing for the world, and I think we need more businesses like this. So yeah, go check it out. Check out your carbon footprint and maybe take some action, because climate change is real. It's happening. The science is pretty unanimous. What a great teacher. That was an awesome example. We should do that for all young kids in primary school, I think. I think people love seeing stuff like this. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know down under what you want me to react to next. I'll catch you guys next time.